Hi, my name's Matt, and for about a month I've been writing and using the CruzTools B2 toolkit. So, in my opinion, there are two types of motorcyclists. The first type is a type that needs tools to work on their bike. The second type is a guy like me who's got 2 or 3 generations of tools in the garage. But it doesn't mean I can't use this. So I'm going to give it a shot. But this isn't the best place to demo it. Let's go somewhere where I can really use it, where I don't have a rollaway full of tools ready to go. Hi, so this is where you're going to be using this kit. Somewhere away from home where you don't have all your tools. Now, comes in a nice roll. It has a cover on one side so things don't slide out. Very compact, a little heavy though, which is good for tools. 3 pounds, 12 ounces is what I measured. So you probably don't want to carry this in a backpack. Pannier, you'll never notice it. And you can unroll the kit, and you see it lays nicely on the seat, so you can keep it all in one place. So let's talk about what we have here. So on the emergency side first, nice little roll of duct tape, very handy. And then we also have the baling wire in here and some zip ties. So we can keep some stuff together here. You'll notice over here we also have some Loctite to keep your stuff from rattling apart. So let's take a look at the tools here. We have a great little 1/4-inch ratchet, nicely polished. Looks very small but very durable. You have an extension, and then you have 4 sockets of an 8, 10, 12, and 13 millimeter. Also over here, you have a socket for your front axle. Now, can you see the backing on here? These can only go in one way, so it's very secure. They're not going to pop out the other way. You can jam them in. They're a little hard to get out, but I'd rather have them hard to get out than fall out. Over here we have some Torx wrenches, which are set up, like Allen wrenches. So you can use this end to spin it. You can use this end to get a little more torque. Not much, but there's always a solution there. Here we have a very motorcycle-ish type of screwdriver, where this pops out and flips over, and then you have a double-sided bit for each side. Works fairly well. What it doesn't have is a Torx bit. I would really like a Torx bit in this situation, but it's easily added. Over here you have some regular Allen wrenches of various sizes. Now a lot of accessories don't come with Torx, they come with Allen, so this is handy. Not to mention if you're working on someone else's bike, works pretty well. So we have a tire pressure gauge here. You should always carry your own, but nice to have a spare. I haven't tested the accuracy of this yet. Over here we have a pretty nice little locking plier. Feels sturdy and locks well. Nice adjustment. The crescent wrench I'm particularly impressed with. It's very smooth. It's a nice quality crescent wrench. I don't know how many people go out and buy crescent wrenches because there always seems to be one around. But this one is well finished and it rotates very nicely. And then we have the end wrenches of 8, 10, 12, and 13 to match the sockets. The nitpick, it's a nitpick. These have a satin finish, and on the edges you can't see, but you can feel a slight amount of roughness. Maybe I've used too many polished tools, but that's my only gripe. It's a very sturdy piece. Now for those with an 750 or 850, this really nicely polished wrench will fix or help you remove the rear axle. So I don't have one of those. I got the 1250. So, but there are uses for this. One thing this doesn't come with that is a special wrench to get inside the rear wheel on the 1250. They advertise, they tell you this in their, that you should buy one and it's an extra $19. Okay, so one of the things that I am always terrified about is about losing things, and this kit does a pretty good job of that. But there's one thing I think I could make a little better, and that is over, say, the Allen keys, or at least on this, take a Sharpie and write 5 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Allen keys, and do the same over here. That way you know exactly how many are there, and if you're rolling it up and you count 4 instead of 5, you know you got to start looking on the ground. And of course, the old adage of putting a bright piece of tape on here is a great idea. One, so you can see it on the ground, and two, so if someone borrows it, you go, hey, that's mine. Okay, so if you go down and you tweak your bars, you have a key that'll fit that. Now, here is one of the advantages of that 34mm on the R series. You can use this nice little tool as leverage. If you need to tighten or loosen it, you can wedge it there, and if you can see, you can almost double the length of the lever. So it's a real nice thing to do when it's needed. You don't always need that. So of course we always need to be able to get to the battery, and there's just one screw there, and there we go. We're at it. This, you can use a ratchet or you can use the Phillips head screwdriver. I would probably use the ratchet, and the battery would then slide out. And conclusion, I haven't found anything that this toolkit doesn't have. Now, the one thing I haven't used this. I don't have a key to open that. That's with the bike. So you can't do an oil change with this. Another place you may have to get to is the crash bars, and you can't get it this way. Oh, you can get it this way. But if you need to loosen them or tighten them or remove them to make a repair, you can use this. Okay, let's talk about taking the front wheel off. So you need to take the brake caliper off, and here you have a 13mm. It's here and here. Perfect. You need to be able to remove the ABS sensor, and you have that key right here. You need to be able to remove the pinch bolt. Oops. You need to be able to remove the pinch bolt. This T45 works perfect for that. Now, as far as the axle, once you need to slide the axle out, you can use the crescent wrench here, and use the crescent wrench to turn the axle with the axle socket right there. So yes, you can get the front wheel off with this. Okay, one of the things I'm always concerned about is my luggage bolts getting loose. These, you can tighten them with them. As Cruz mentions in their documentation, they do not supply the key that would fit the rear wheel. So you could use the large key, but you don't get any leverage here. And if you use the key this way, you can't turn it. So they have a special T50 key just for this, and if you have a Boxer, I'd highly recommend you purchase that, because it'll make this a lot easier. Okay, it's worth mentioning, although it may seem obvious to some, but this does not include the tools to do an oil change. So you need a cap for your filler, you need an oil filter wrench, and you need a socket or end wrench that fits the drain plug. It may be obvious to some, but it's worth noting. I wouldn't expect it in there either. If it had an oil filter wrench, it would be too unwieldy. But it won't be the only tools you need for this bike. And so that wraps up my evaluation of the Roadtech B2 toolkit. it's a decent value. Tools are good, the case is great, wraps up small, easy to carry in your pannier. Remember, it doesn't come with the wheel wrench if you've got the R series. But they're straight up front about that. So I would definitely recommend it. Do I have any concerns? I do have one. And it doesn't have to do with the toolkit, but it doesn't give you a way of measuring torque. And with a lot of aluminum on these bikes, you do have to have a light hand. So I would recommend getting to know your torque values on your bike and in your hand. Practice with a measured instrument, like a good torque wrench. That'll keep you from making more damage out on the trail than you might otherwise do. But overall, great product, and I'd recommend it.